Jim.
in the room. Hello, Jim. How are we?
We are here. We are Mad Science Films.
What's up?
I am James Plumb, filmmaker and sexual astronaut. And as ever, I'm joined by my courageous co-host.
Ooh, I like James Morrissey, another filmmaker, part of the Mad Science team, aka Angry Jim as well. So there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not really that angry.
No, I know. I just got to say something, haven't I, to fill in that kind of AKA.
Come
blank.
on, guys. Let's have a replacement. Let's give Jim another nickname. Have you never had any other nickname, Jim?
Jim. That's like yeah.
No,
Someone called me Jay. That was a bit shit.
J Dog. Let's go with J Dog.
J. I don't look like a J Dog though. J Diddy. There's nothing.
J Diddy.
Nothing.
I like that. There we go. J Diddy. That's what it is.
J Diddy. Yeah.
Okay.
J Diddy or didn't he? There we go.
Let's move on. Let's move. So, first up, if you are in the UK and a Prime Video member, please check out our fourth feature film for free. Just search for A Little Monster or click on the link in the show notes below.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Get down there.
All about the challenges of what if you're a parent, your little one gets bitten by a zombie? What would you do?
What would you do?
What would you do? Find out what our characters would do by clicking on the link below. Mm-hmm.
Click it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Moving on again. Whirlwind Tour. So this show, at the moment, what we're doing is we're campaigning for forgotten masterpieces of genre cinema to be given the upscale Blu Ray treatment. You know, we're going to be hassling some boutique Blu Ray labels and asking them, hey, we love these films. We think other people would love these films and you'd make some dollar. So this week was my choice. Oh, yes. And as I said to Jim, I've been picking some almost normal films recently, some actual proper films. And I kind of thought, you know what? Let's mix it up again. So I've chosen Child of the Peach, directed by Chung Ching Chow from 1987.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll just do the synopsis, Jim, and then we'll get into it. We'll mix it up. So Peach Kid, aka Child of the Peach, joins Tiny Monkey, Tiny Dog, and Tiny Cock to rescue the Princess Apple from the Devil King of Monster Island. Jim? Jim, you okay?
Oh, mate, honestly.
No, James, was this a first time watch?
Oh, yes, this was a first time watch for me.
Oh, really?
Surprisingly so. You think after Boy God, I go on a rampage and find other similar. Wow.
You're welcome.
Just wow. 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 Just, when it just first started, I was like, what is going on here? So I just kind of allowed myself to just be taken by the storyline and just really get fully immersed in it. Nice. There's some parts of the film which seem very influenced by 80s fantasy. I had a big never-ending story vibe from this film. Huge. Even that title track they keep playing, it felt like they even timed it like the never-ending story film with their title track.
Beautiful Taiwanese 80s synth pop, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was just a lot of fucking bullshit, batshit crazy fun, to be honest. I think this is supposed to be a kid's film, though.
Again, so yes, I think so too. And in the same way, look, you know, you can almost flash back to our episode on Boy God, aka Stone Boy, and whatever else it was called. Yeah, I think it's a kids' film. Tonally, it feels very kids' film-esque. There's some weird bits of nudity in there. Not quite as weird as Boy God, but still is bits where you, like, for a modern audience, you'd kind of go, yeah. There's some subtitles where they've dropped some S-bombs in there, and you kind of think,
yeah.
And to be honest, I would be surprised if that is what they're saying, because they did like the swears felt almost shoehorned in to the dialogue. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because some of some of the subtitles I found hard to read some because it was white
White on
on
white.
white. Yeah, I just couldn't read it. But the ones I did manage to read felt like they weren't translated the best. So I'm not. Yeah, it'd be interesting to get a better, perhaps
Yeah,
translation
I mean,
in a re-release.
I'm not that. This is a Taiwanese film, so I'm not that familiar with Taiwanese cinema overall, but definitely like with Hong Kong cinema. Pretty much a lot of the films had like their subtitles kind of like baked in, so you know those subtitles would have been showing
Yeah,
on the original film back in Taiwan as well, is my understanding. I might be slightly wrong
yeah.
on that, so if anybody wants to correct me, please do. I'm here to learn. um but yeah, so yeah, there was those weird swears in the subtitles, and one
Mm.
instance of pretty extreme gore at the end of the film where I was just like, oh, okay, that happened then.
Yeah, was that the should
the,
we say it?
the exploding head.
Yeah,
We'll just
yeah,
leave it at that. There's an exploding head.
yeah. A bit of
It's
scanners in there.
so comical, and it's only a few frames, but I did watch it going, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
It's kind of one of those films. If you're watching with your child, you'd be looking over at those moments. Go, ooh, how are they taking that? You know, is that a bit too much for them?
yeah. So the
But
good
it could,
news, Jim, the good news is this is part of like a mini genre of stuff that was happening in the 80s in Taiwanese cinema. So there's a very loose trilogy of
I've
which,
seen Magic of Spell. Yeah,
yes, I was gonna try watch it, didn't get around to it, so I was
I
hoping
didn't
to
have the
catch
energy. Yeah.
that. So there's a loose trilogy, and there was a whole subgenre of films, mostly starring the Peach Kid him/herself. So
Mm.
confusingly, Peach Kid, who is supposed to be male, is played by a young lady, and pretty much most of her 80s career was in these, like male roles, playing these like,
Mm.
superhero-esque characters. At no point did I kind of buy her as a male. They didn't really try hide that away. There's bits where she's soaking wet, and there's a bit of cleavage.
Yeah.
But I really loved this film. Yeah, I mean, I actually heard about this film from an amazing Facebook group, which I'm a member of, so I would recommend anybody else join this. So this is the We Love Asian Movies. So if you're, dug this film, go check out what other recommendations those guys have. So thank you guys for this one. This is one I actually tracked down. This is not just the algorithms, bestowing it upon me. But I really dug it. It's a Taiwanese film, kind of very loosely based on a Japanese legend. So very much, in the same kind of genre as, do you remember the was it 70s or 80s TV show Monkey, based on the
Monkey. Yeah.
Japanese legends, Journey to the West, all that kind of stuff. So it's very much that. And then there's other weird things mixed in because it's Taiwanese cinema rather than Japanese cinema. They're not too faithful. They really don't care. It's just like these crazy ideas, and they're like, yeah, cool, we'll attach that to a fantasy quest movie, really. Did you pick up on the weird Superman vibes as well? So
yeah, a lot of that kind of the couple taking the baby in and realizing his
yeah,
powers.
so
Yeah.
the origin of Superman. So very briefly, there's this magical garden world, which is inhabited by the characters Tiny Monkey, Tiny Dog, and interestingly enough, Tiny Cock, who I think are animals who can turn into humans rather than the other way around. And then a seemingly human man and woman and their baby. And they come under attack from King Devil.
These names are original,
I love it. I mean, this
Yeah.
is proper like going back to myths, so it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it, really? So they come under attack from King Devil, who is an amazing costume and makeup design, very out there, very, very 80s, I've got to be honest. So they hide their newborn baby-ish. I mean, it's a few months old, clearly, but I think it's supposed to be fairly newborn. They hide it inside a giant peach, and then the giant peach flies away to safety, much as Superman's original Kryptonian parents put the baby in the rocket ship and fired it off to Earth. So I was watching this going, Okay, great. Superman meets Japanese legend, meets Kung Fu, meets Power Ranger type fights. Great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I did enjoy a lot of that kind of wire wire kind of
The stunt
pulling,
work. Yeah.
a lot of the crazy stunts fights and tables and furniture flipping and all that kind of stuff.
It
It
was
felt
very
very,
inventive as well, wasn't it? And
yeah,
because,
yeah.
like, especially in the opening bit, it was a battle between like an old couple and a peach. There were some gags there which, I wouldn't have seen in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So I was fully on board.
It's just so mental, like the writing. It's just so like, how is your mind working to think up
Yeah,
these things,
yeah.
or
I
allowing
mean,
yourself to go, yeah, that makes for a good sequence to have a giant peach. I
that's
mean,
what yeah.
God knows what the baby inside must have been feeling like if he's bouncing around the fucking place.
I mean, what kind of drugs must they have been on to think, right, we'll have a granny in a boat lasso a giant peach. The giant peach then goes onto ground. The granny's moving so fast she bursts onto fire, and then the peach pisses on her to put the fire out.
A lot of piss in this film.
There is a lot.
A lot of peeing, a lot of urine, a lot of monkey piss, peach piss, human piss, tasting of piss, piss on the face.
Yep.
I
Bit of
think we're getting
flatulence.
into some. Yes, yes. A lot of
I mean, again,
ass
it's just
biting.
yes. Sorry, I forgot about the ass biting. Good point. It's very lowbrow slapstick, and I'm cool with that. I'm fully on board. Why not? I mean, you've got the Night Melon. Who's this?
Again, these names are brilliant. Like, I think that's why I laugh so much when you're reading the synopsis, because just the names are just ridiculous.
It's fantastic.
They're so on the nose. Just
Yeah.
so like.
And again, I mean, I completely write that down to like myths and legends and stuff like that. In the same way that George Lucas tried to do it with Star Wars and Darth Vader. Dark Father. Okay, does what it says on the tin. Bizarrely, you've got Priest Bowie.
Do you know what? Again, Labyrinth. I mean, unfortunately, I've picked some of these from my suggestions, but like, a lot of Bowie, even the wigs, mate, were very King Goblin-esque.
Yeah. I mean, some of the wigs, I'd almost go Rent a Ghost. It's like that weird, the costumes, the makeup, all of that stuff.
And they describe when they were going off to war. Didn't they describe as ghostbusting or something?
Yes, ghostbusting as well. I mean, 1987, obviously a few years on from Ghostbusters, the first one. Sure, why not?
So definitely influenced by some 80s classics there.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. At no point did it lose my attention. It's this weird Japanese legend stuck onto like the fantasy hero quest on a journey. Peach Kid has to prove himself. He's not accepted by the army, but he follows along anyway.
Yeah.
Then the entire army is completely wiped out apart from Night Melon, Peach Kid, and tiny animals. There's only so many times I can say tiny cocks before I absolutely lose it. And then they go fight the final boss in his lair with Sharkmen and all these other things, love spells and all this mad stuff. What I loved was Night Melon actually kind of held his own in the fights as well. Like he was clearly the comedic, comic relief, but at the same time he was proper scrapping.
Oh yeah, what he went up against is the Gladiator or something he was called. That big beast guy, and he kind of held his own, and then he kind of got the girl, and he had his little moment, didn't he, of glory. Yeah, like you, mate. I almost enjoyed it a bit more afterwards, just thinking back on it, like just how much it tickles me, like just how ridiculous the film is, and clearly intentional.
Yeah.
So
it's got that playful thing, and I think similar to Boy God. If anything, I'd say it's probably a more accomplished film to Boy God. You know what? I'd have to rewatch Boy God to remind myself which one I enjoyed more.
I think with Boy God they try to incorporate a bit too much horror into it as well. I think with these they kind of kept it as just fantasy and just run with it. There was a bit of like zombie-ish thing with the grandmother
the witch,
and
the granny witch,
and all that kind of all that kind of stuff. But they didn't go off too much. It was straight up fantasy, albeit a wacky one.
Yeah.
Whereas Boy God, they tried to do a bit of that hammer horror.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In it, didn't they? So
you're absolutely right, mate. I think Boy God was more episodic because the tonal shifts were so mental, weren't they? It was like hammer horror,
definitely.
Ray Harryhausen's James Bond siege thing. Whereas this is very much a classic fantasy type kind of thing, and it felt much more. I'll definitely, when I get the chance, to be checking out the sequels and the other films in that subgenre as well, mate. So Kung Fu Wonder Child, that's the one that I'm going to be checking out at some point. Magic of Spells as well. I will check it out. I'll report back, mate. And you never know, maybe a future episode, dude.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be fun. Actually, I'm sure it'll be fun.
All right, mate. Cool. So, which Blu-ray labels do we think are best place to put this bad boy out?
I've gone for two obvious ones. I think, looking and seeing there's sequels to this, and like I just said, there's there's a collection to be had. So I think, and also a lot of restoration. I think they're pretty sexy in 4K, to be honest. The set design, production was brilliant as well. That's another thing to mention about this film. Really good. So I think, Arrow at 88. I think, bring some life to these, and
much the same, mate. The reason I'm going to lean slightly more towards 88 is because they put out more of the kind of Asian horror stuff, the classic Asian horror stuff, which kind of speaks also to some of my recommendations as well. So I'd lean towards 88 films, but again, I think in terms of putting down the money, in terms of doing restoration, which I think this film would need, I agree, Arrow would also be really well placed. Also, whichever lot put it out, I'd love to get an academic to talk more about the subgenre as well. To talk about other films, what tropes you kind of see and stuff like that. So I think it really deserves that sort of treatment, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, mate. Cool. So we're going to assume that everybody is like us and absolutely dug this movie. What should they watch after they've watched Peach Kid or Child of the Peach?
I've said a couple already, but if you like Goblin King hairstyles and fantasy, perhaps check out The Labyrinth with Mr. Bowie himself. Kids kicking ass, martial arts. You could maybe look at The Three Ninjas. Nice. Quite quirky. I think they're
on Netflix as well at the moment. Some of them.
Yeah. My boy loves The Three Ninjas, so they're good for the kids. Fantasy film, Baby Being Found, A Quest, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe check out Willow.
Nice.
Yeah, and Boy God. If you like a bit, Boy God. Sorry,
snap. So Boy God is also one of my recommendations. Absolutely check that out however you can. I'm going to go with a couple of other Asian kind of fantasy kind of stuff / horror. Boxer's Omen is a great one. I think 88 Films have put that out on a Blu-ray, so definitely check out Boxer's Omen. It's another what the fuck kind of film.
All right.
Yeah. More adult, less kidsy. But another one which is almost kind of legends meets fairy tale type of story. So I can't honestly remember what the rating of this is. I saw it way too young. Bride with White Hair. So these great Hong Kong movies from way back when. Definitely check out with White Hair. So cool. Righty then. That's the recommendations. That's our Blu-ray labels. Check out the films if you can, guys. If you've already seen the films, what do you think? Should we check out the sequels? Is that something that you guys are up for? And also let us know of any other films that you think we should get on to pester some Blu-ray labels and get those bad boys out on Blu-ray. And James, what else can these lovely people do for us?
Well, if you like this video, then please hit that like button. If you've been enjoying the Mad Science content, then why not subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook. If you have any comments or suggestions, then leave those in the comment section down below. Thank you and goodbye. Peace.